Hi there, guys. Oh, shoot. She changed her. Hey there, guys. I'm going to try something new again. Let's see if this works. And tell me if you hear what I'm saying. I'm trying to use a new microphone to make the recording, the audio sound a little bit more consistent. So if you can hear me, give me a thumbs up, please. I would appreciate that. Let's see. So I'm sorry I'm running a little bit behind. It's like 5 minutes after 2. I try to get here exactly at 2. Thank you, Gita. I appreciate the thumbs up. That really helps me out. But I was actually, one of the things I'm going to do today is do a paint application exercise for some of my students that are new and are trusting me to help them, with oil painting, which makes me so proud and excited and honored, because it means that because I really want to make sure that they love oil painting as much as I do. And so I'm going to do a quick demonstration, but I thought I would also show what we're working on in the master copy class that I'm working on with my students. This is the beginning, the first day of a Cezanne class, and we are, we're having a fun time with the excuse me, with the class. I think there's some really good opportunities to be to work through things in a way that is helpful. And there we go. Okay, so I really am thankful for you guys to help me. So what I'm going to do is I want to get a canvas out that is for the painting, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that way you guys can see the brush strokes that I'm going to be working with. And one moment, I need to dang it. Silly. Okay. That needs to, okay, so what do I need? Shoot. Okay. Okay, so okay, so I'm a bit flying blind, just a wee bit today. I usually use my daughter's Instagram to see your comments, guys. So I'm really sorry. I'm not going to be able to reply to any comments today, just because of how I can't get into Instagram through my daughter's account. She's changed stuff around, which that's totally cool, but so sorry about that, guys. So okay, let's just do this. So I have this blank piece of canvas, and I want to talk about brush strokes. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, I've got a mixture of of raw sienna and white. And what I want to talk about is like a fully loaded brush is a brush that has paint on each side pretty evenly. And what it does is it has the ability to, like, this is a medium pressure stroke. And see how that paint totally goes on, you know, pretty evenly. And then like, and now, and if I, that's a medium brush stroke texture. And then if I do really, really light, still allows, but then like, and see that part right there? That is called scumbling. That's when you are using your brush stroke so lightly that the texture of whatever is underneath kind of sparkle, you know, you only get little bits of paint, like, you know, gets transferred to your surface. And that is scumbling. That can be done like right now with this, with a raw canvas, like, you know, with nothing painted on it. But it can also be applied over something like other previously painted layers. And then, okay, now I'm going to reload my brush with the same mixture. And so that, the two paint applications that I prefer the best are like this medium pressure and then a light pressure. And then there's a hard pressure where you just like brush in and you just, and that's a really hard pressure. And that is, I don't know if this is the official term, but when I'm painting and when I'm thinking, I call that rubbing in, because essentially that's what I'm doing. I'm like, you know, I'm just rubbing in and trying to just, I'm not thinking about the quality of my brush strokes or anything. I'm just rubbing, and I, you know, I'm using hard pressure, and I'm trying to get pretty even with the surface. Okay, so now I'm gonna I want to do an area where I have the same kind of medium pressure where I lay in, and then I flip over and I lay in, and then you can flip over, and then you can, you know, you can kind of, what's nice is then you get this wonderful texture. And so that's all medium pressure, but instead of it being directional, I'm kind of doing in a multi-directional. And then that provides an opportunity for like adding more texture or atmosphere. Okay, so now I'm going to do a fully loaded brush with, and I'm trying to, let's see, right here. I want to, actually I'll do it right here. I'm doing a fully loaded brush, and what I want to do is I'm going to be laying down kind of with my medium layer, but instead of doing the multi kind of atmospheric application, I'm going to be going directional. So I'll go like that, and then one of the things is like, if you notice, even though it's the same mixture, it's lighter, and that's because this was rubbed into the weave, and so it's kind of like all in those nooks and crannies, where this paint application is laying on, essentially laying on top of my weave. Let's get that. And what I want to do is I want to show then, like, you've got like, do another, okay, and then I'm going to do another, this is a little bit darker in value, and then this is, I'm being a little bit more directional and coverage, because I want to show something. And then I'm going to show another type of how you can paint when you want to create, this is kind of what I call an ombre, O-M-B-R-E method. So you lay down paint like that. And then if I want to say alter, so I'll lay down directional. Now I've got some Viridian and white and a little bit of cadmium yellow, so it's kind of a really bright green. And what I want to talk about is that, like, okay, so now I'm gonna demonstrate painting wet and wet, but so like there is like, for example, wet and wet requires you to use medium or really light touch. You have a fully loaded brush, so you don't want to rub in at all. However, like if you've rubbed in, that's a rubbed in with a little bit more texture, so it wasn't as hard as that rub in. But you can apply paint very lightly over a rubbed in area and get some really nice, variations. Now if I rubbed in, so that's like painting wet and wet, but like allowing my second layer of paint to kind of like float on top of the wet underpainting. Now if I rub in, so I just want to show you, like, look at that, that looks different. Now I'm going to rub in that very same color mixture, and the green gets pushed in more. So now I'm going to, like, you can lay in on top of, and if you notice, I painted one direction and then the other, and then look, my brush has got paint on both sides. So that means I need to wipe it off and reload my paint brush. And now I've got more load, and so now I can do the same thing. Now, like, it's adulterated, it's got some of that underpainting in, but it's not been mixed. It's kind of, so I could still kind of, I just have to be careful. Okay, and then, now, like, say I want to blend these two, not lay on top of, I can actually start here and actually slowly create like an ombre, a gradient from that first color to the second color, and that's a very nice feature. And then now I'm going to do a quick demonstration of how colors look when you do a light. I'm going to do two other color mixtures. Let's see, what colors do I want to use? I've got green. I've already got this green mixture. So I'm going to use this green mixture of Viridian and cadmium yellow. I need to actually get a little bit more Viridian out. I just used up the last of my Viridian. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mix, so I've got Viridian and cadmium yellow and white. So my mixture is this. And so now I want to show the idea of like what it's like when you mix on top of. So let's see right here. Okay, I'm going to do right here. So I've got this mixture of Viridian with cadmium yellow and a little bit of white. And that's my base. Actually, I just realized I want to do another row. am now, so now I'm making a mixture of ultramarine blue and white. And what I'm going to do is, and then I'm going to do ultramarine blue and white. Do that here. So that's my base. I'm doing two bases. So, and now when you lay down and you're mixing wet and wet and you're creating what I'm going to be demonstrating now is what's called broken color, which is what the Impressionists did and the Post-Impressionists did. And what is broken color? Broken color is maximizing the effects of scumbling, but we're doing it as the Impressionists did. And so now what I want to do is show, like I've got what I want to do is we're going to do a straight ultramarine blue here and then this tint over the green, just to show so this is dark over light. And then here is the ultramarine blue with white over this green mixture. And that reads a little bit differently. And then I'm going to take straight Viridian that's mixed with cadmium yellow, and I'm going to and it's this mixture right here. So that's what it looks like when it's not been mixed with white. And I'm going to lay this over that blue. And between every time I do this, I need to wipe off and wash my brush. I do a true wipe off, and the best way to wipe off is, in my opinion, is you have a rag and you find like a clean area of your rag or a cleanish area, and you pinch on the wood ferrule, and then you squeeze your fingers and you pinch out, and then you get all the paint off of your brush. You then wash it down with odorless mineral spirits, and that's how I change. So now I'm going to do the light green over this one. My brush is fully loaded, and I'm using a soft touch because I don't want to be rubbing in. I just want to be like laying that light color over the, I just want to be doing the light color over that blue mixture. So now I'm going to, with this dark green, I'm going to do the dark green, the ultramarine blue here, and then a tint, the blue and white there. And then here's the light blue over the darker green mixture. So now I'm going to do the dark blues over there. Actually, means I need to move. Okay. Okay. Here's dark blue. Oops. Brushes. My brush wasn't loaded enough. When it starts getting kind of scrapey, I know that I don't have enough paint on my brush. Especially if and how do you know if you don't have enough paint on your brush? Is if when you use a light touch and the paint's not going down on your canvas and you have to start using harder pressure, which I was having to do, which therefore gave me that scratchy kind of sound, that told me that my brush was not loaded adequately. Okay. So now this is the dark green over the straight ultramarine blue. And my dark green mixture is Viridian with cad yellow. And then here is the tinted version of the Viridian with cad yellow. Okay, so all of these are examples of broken color where I'm using, and I'm not doing the impressionist where I'm doing a color complement of, like, say, red and green, or blue and purple, or yellow and purple, or blue and orange, which you can totally do, and I encourage you to experiment with it. But I wanted to actually show even how important broken color is in relationship to analogous colors, because now I'm going to mix on the palette this mixture and put the swatch here, and then do the same thing for all of these mixtures and show you how very different the results are. So then this is that mixture. Those are those two colors together. Which then also happens to be right there. Okay, so next I'm going to mix that color right there. Okay, and so now this mixture is ultramarine blue with Viridian and cadmium yellow. And then there it is again. And let's get I need to do the tint of the ultramarine blue with the light greens. Tint. Okay. Okay, and so then this is that color. that tinted blue. Actually a little bit. Okay, and so now I need to mix the dark green mixture with the light blue. And then there. That's a little, my paint mixture's gotten a bit thin, so let me thicken that up a bit. Okay. Yeah. So so broken color, this learning how to paint wet and wet is an exceptionally important technique to learn and master as an oil painter. And it all is done by how hard or soft you apply your paint. And what is important too is, like, for example, look at how, like, okay, look at these mixtures here. Those are beautiful colors. I'm not saying that they're ugly colors, but there is more vibrancy and more like sparkle and nuance in with these colors that are with broken color. Same as like this row in comparison to this row here. And so your painting with pressure is so important, and everything. And you know, guys, I'm really sorry I can't see. Today is not. I can't see comments. So let me scroll down. I usually tune in on with my daughter's account. So let me see if there's any comments that I need to read. Okay, Susan. Yeah. I'm glad you like this. So it's helpful to. It is important to learn how to paint wet and wet, and not always rely on what your mixtures are on when you mix on the palette. I mix a ton on the palette. Don't get me wrong, as an artist, but I also utilize the sparkle and nuance that it comes from different applications of indirect painting. Be it you paint a field down and then you lay another color on top of it, like I did in this example right here, or where I did this gradient of an ombre where I had pure color here and pure color here, and then I wove them together on the canvas. It really is helpful. So I'm going to use just a quick example. So let's see. So I kind of consider that like those colors are kind of dark and dead. Oops. So, but like when you lay it on top of, it can start, and I'm picking up, so like that one was the purest color. Flipped over, this was the purest brushstroke. But then all my other subsequent brushstrokes start to get slightly adulterated. But that nuance can be exceptionally expressive too. Okay, so that is, like, I guess today's paint mix lesson and I'll stop there. But just to I'll just reiterate. So a fully loaded brush with medium to medium light pressure. A fully loaded brush with very, very light pressure. So essentially, I was aiming for that, which is like, that's scumbling. This is rubbed in. The white, the creamy white color was rubbed in, and then I laid Wet n Wet a green mixture over it. These 3 squares and this square was essentially this pressure, but with different types of brush strokes. This was multi-directional, and then this was horizontal and vertical. But then I laid on top of these 2 multi-directional strokes to kind of create a field, an atmospheric field. And then this was just demonstrating the different effects of, like, so this is dark over light, and then this is light over dark. Same exact paint mixtures, just different order of what's on top, and that it makes a gigantic difference. And then here we go. We've got the dark green over the dark over the dark blue, and then we have the dark blue over the dark green. I just find that it's very fascinating. So, okay, so I'm going to stop there, and for the next 20 minutes of the session, I'll go back to actually doing the Cezanne demonstration. So let me zoom back a bit. Might need to lower this. Yep, I need to. So in my master copy class, which is this is an extra hour demonstration for my students for my art league class, we are copying a Cezanne. Today's the first day of a Cezanne copy that we're working on, and we are so I just started this guy, and I'm really loving how it's coming along. Of course, there's with any painting, there's always that starting period, which is what we're in right now. And where's my brush? What happened to the brush? It must have fallen down. Yep. Okay. So I've just started, or I'm getting further along. Okay, so Cezanne had it, he outlined everything with like this dark blue line. So I'm trying to do that as well. And I had just started working in this area. And so yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. I want to focus on these guys. So that's what I'm going to do now. But I had been working with this, so let's, it's actually maybe a cleaner color. I'll have to look into that. this guy in. So for this copy, I'm working at about 85% of what it is in its original state. So it's a little bit reduced in size, but not bad. I need to get my alizarin crimson out. I'm out of that. Oops. Oh dear. Oops. Okay. So like painting red over green, it's really important that I then make sure that I keep my pressure really light, because I don't want to, I don't want to like create mud, which like if you mix red and green together, let's see. So this is the color. Let's see. I'll put it down here. That's the color that I get if I mixed that with that red, which that's like the wrong color, but it's funny actually. It kind of works here on my copy, so I can get away with like rubbing that off there. But I need to make sure that my edges are that as I'm laying down this red over the green, that I'm doing it with like an aspect of soft touch. I'm actually going to put what's sometimes called a transition layer. So this is raw sienna, and I'm putting that down right here. Needs to be a little bit lighter. Okay. Establish that. And then there's like an edge there. That needs to be lighter in value. That's what I'm learning. Okay, good enough for now. So even that will eventually need to lighten in value. I might adjust that. Okay, I do need to raise this up to make it more ergonomic for me, which means, oops, that's too high. There we go. Okay. So that, I can probably put that in right there. And then there's a dark shadow right there, so I'm going to put that in. So my brush is getting a little bit not loaded enough with paint, because I'm having to use harder pressure to get my paint down. So that tells me, when I have to use hard pressure and like my brush is going down, like being bent like that, it's time for me to like reload the paint on my brush. Because in truth, you kind of always want to be using your tips like that. So you don't want to be like, you can, only if you want that effect. But if you want to if you want a softer touch and maybe a more, I find that it's sometimes that hard pressure can be detrimental to your goals. And like that tells me I'm using a medium to light touch, but see how the weave is showing up? Not enough paint on my brush. Let's see. So I've gone lighter in value on this part of the peach. So I'm going to get that in. I'm going to get that variation in. So getting that in. Okay, now that needs to be more yellow. It's going to be darker. So cobalt blue with a little bit of cad red gives me that darker bit that I see. Like I see some dark value there. And like it's all over here, so I'm going to get that in. Again, not enough paint on my brush. So I'm trying to get that down. And then this is shadow shape. So I'm going to, still not enough brush paint on my brush. So I want to make sure I'm really, okay. Bit of green here in the original, so I'll have to play with that. And then some lighter value there. So I'm going to fiddle with that. Okay, so now my let's see, too dark, shucks. Okay, so I've got more yellow, so I got to lay that yellow in, and so I'm working wet and wet, picking up paint. There we go. And like there's more going on right there, but that will have to go, that will have to wait. Potentially that lighter value gets added on another time, but I'm gonna at least get that value in. And then we've got more pink. So it's lighter in value, but more pinky. So let's get that going. Got to get more white. that guy in. Whoops, picked up some of the blue from the adjacent colors, which that happens all the time. Let's get, so this peach is oh my goodness, that looks good. Or I like how it's looking. And that's another thing, guys, when you are painting, if you lay down a couple of strokes, even if it's not exactly like you want, but if you like how it looks, give yourself those little kudos. There's those little moments of where you pat yourself on the back are so important for like persevering. You want to encourage yourself throughout the painting process, because it's so easy to make mistakes while you're painting. And there's no harm in giving yourself some props for when you think you've done it right, or you like a certain passage that really reads well for you. So now I haven't done much on this piece. It's like there's so much more. I'm doing just kind of like the rough block in is kind of how I'm thinking about this. Okay, so I need to get, there we go. Okay, so I need to get the green in. Let's get this in. Okay, and then let's get, like, this value is way too dark, so I'm going to start lightening that. And let's see how I'm painting wet and wet from this earlier in the demonstration, how I demonstrated, and how it shifts. You can totally paint wet and wet everywhere, essentially. Wherever you think you can enhance the sense of form, you can paint wet and wet. I need to really investigate this shape more. I'm not doing it justice. Not doing it justice at all. Okay. And there's a dark value right there. Peach center. This is just a wee bit darker. Okay, so I'm getting there, but there's still a lot more to get done, but I've got a few more minutes, but then I got to head out. So, and you know, painting is always an opportunity to make improvements too. So like I'm noticing that like this curve is incorrect. It needs to come up. So I need to get that curve in. And then I noticed like that value is incorrect. It should be darker. So I also like taking my time and like looking at the areas that like might need a little bit more help and assistance. So I'm going to do that. Yeah, I mean, and guys, there's so much to do when you're working on a painting, when you're doing a copy. The trick is to just do it and don't let yourself get bogged down. You know, be kind to yourself. Move forward, but also do be kind to yourself. You know, don't be too rough on yourself. So, okay, it's warmer. So I just realized that my plate right here is warmer, so I need to warm that up a bit. And then there's some shadow shapes right here that I hadn't yet put in, so I'm going to put those in. And then I'll be in a good spot, a good location for what needs to be done with my class this evening. Okay, so let's see. Looks great. Thank you for the color mixing demo at the beginning. You're welcome. You're welcome, Beth. So I gotta run, guys. It's 3 o'clock or 2:59, but I have to run. I have a 3 o'clock commitment, and as always, I really appreciate you guys being here, for you tuning in today. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for being here, and yeah, thank you so much. Have a really good day. Bye.